Hello and welcome. I'm Phil Torres, here to talk about innovations that can change lives. We're going to explore the intersection of hardware and humanity, and we're doing it in a unique way. This is a show about science by scientists. Let's check out our team of hardcore nerds. Lindsay Moran is an ex-CIA operative. Science Under Fire, the new classroom edition that's causing controversy. Kyle Hill is an engineer. He's got the dirtiest job and the science that could revolutionize Indiana's dairy farms. Rochelle Oldmixon is a neuroscientist. And I'm Phil Torres. I'm an entomologist. I study insects in the rainforests of Peru. That's our team. Now let's do some science. We are back for another exciting show, and Lindsay, you're going to start us off. You did a very interesting story. It's a bit controversial and important to you as a mother.
I did a story on ballistic backpacks and bulletproof whiteboards for use in the classroom. So I kind of approached this story from two very disparate vantage points. One being a former CIA officer who thinks any layer of added security is good. And then one as a mom in, do I really want to give my kids the idea that this kind of technology is going to keep them safe? Let's have a look. As a former CIA agent, I learned how to shoot a variety of guns. So when TechKnow asked me to cover a story about the trend in bulletproof back-to-school supplies, it appealed to me, both as a former operative and to my other side, as a mom. Back-to-school shopping. It's always the most stressful time of year for parents like me who are not prepared. And now we've got one more thing to worry about. Some parents are buying items like this insert intended to bulletproof backpacks to their back-to-school shopping list. In the wake of the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary last year, which left 20 children dead, it's no surprise that this school year, security is a big concern. I visited one company called Hardwire, based in Pocomoke City, Maryland, which manufactures bulletproof school accessories. So where are we going now?
We're going to go out onto the factory floor.
Okay.
And
Whoa.
This factory was built like right in the height of the Iraq and Afghanistan conflict. So it started really as a vehicle armoring company. We moved into body armor, and then after Sandy Hook, we really took that same technology and applied it to school armor.
Hardwire's new bulletproof school product line includes inserts for kids' backpacks, whiteboards for teachers, and stick-on doors. They're all made from a synthetic fiber called Dyneema, which is also used in skis and snowboards.
What's neat is it all starts from this material, which is actually what you're holding is 4 layers of super fine fiber. It's kind of hard to get it started. You can start to see what it's made of.
Oh, yeah. Don't floss your teeth with this,
Yeah,
guys.
it's gorilla floss, for sure. The key is time, temperature, and pressure. We found that with increasing pressure, ballistic properties went up. So the harder we could squeeze it at the right temperature, the more the ballistic resistance went up, so the lighter the shield could be.
They're then cut to make different products, such as backpack inserts or whiteboards. I gotta be honest, though. It's so light, I'm having a hard time believing that this could withstand rapid-fire weapons.
That little piece of plastic that's less than a 1/4 inch thick has 400 layers in it. But you're looking at something that's 8, 9 times lighter than steel for the same type of stopping power.
But as they say, seeing is believing. We went to a nearby shooting range to test Hardwire's bulletproof backpack inserts. Colonel Douglas Dodds of Worcester County Sheriff's Office conducted the test for us, starting with a 9mm Glock. All right, let's turn this into a ballistic backpack. Earplugs in.
Clear.
Definitely hit it. Thank you. But
Nothing penetrated the back, but you can see a couple of holes
oh yeah.
down here where it hit. Some of the rounds were deflected down through the bottom, and the ones that didn't go through, here they are.
These are still hot.
There's no penetration. The way it's designed, it actually absorbs the energy and collapses around it, which is perfect for a ballistics panel. If you're holding it, your hand's gonna sting, but I'd rather that than a hole in my chest.
Should we try it out with something more powerful? What else do you have?
Let's try a 357 Magnum.
How much more powerful is that?
A lot of it depends on the weight and the diameter of the round. And these two actually, this one's around 1,150 feet per second coming out of the muzzle. This one is about 1,200 feet per second. It depends on what you're firing and what you prefer.
My son asked me if we could put his homework in here. Sorry, Jesse. No such luck. You got to do your homework.
All right, line's hot, eyes and ears. Clear.
If you think about the power it takes for this insert to stop a bullet traveling at an incredibly fast velocity and actually to kind of trap it with inside the insert, it's pretty amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and admit that I am pretty impressed by how the ballistic backpacks withstood some really powerful weaponry yesterday at the range. But it's not just a matter of how well they can take the gunfire. There's also the question of whether or not teachers can really use these in the classroom. Dr. Barry Tull is the headmaster of Wooster Preparatory in Berlin, Maryland.
You have a great day, okay? Hey, guys.
After the shootings at Sandy Hook, Hardwire's George Tunis called him with a proposal.
He was offering to donate 60 whiteboards for all of our teachers and to give ballistic clipboards to our office staff. And we got them, and within a week, he had them delivered and then provided training.
Was there any initial skepticism or resistance from the teachers?
Once the training came about and they saw that it just gave them something that they would have as a tool to use in case of an incident, I think they became not only relieved, but true believers.
Some teachers at his school have embraced the dual purpose of the Bulletproof whiteboards.
Because how does Elizabeth find out about the Armada? Spies. Spies.
Do you think the fact that this just looks like another classroom accoutrement makes it less threatening?
I think the way I use it and how it matches the classroom decor, if you will, it's not screaming to the kids, this is a shield.
Yeah, it seems like watching you teach, as you're using it, it's kind of a security measure that's seamlessly integrated into the classroom. Can you just demo for us how you think you would use it?
If I ever had to, this is something like a shield, you would use it like this if you ever had to use it. Hopefully not, but.
And rush at the intruder or just hold it up?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I would do.
To me, when you put that technology in the classroom, they're just kind of putting up this little shield. And if somebody's in there with a gun, they should just get out of there.
Well, that's very true. And even in the CIA, we're trained to get off the X, to get out of the dangerous situation, not necessarily to try to defend ourselves. This is kind of using a very old technology to address an issue that is very paramount in our society. How do we protect our kids? How do we prevent another tragedy like at Newtown? Let's have a look. Sadly, mass shootings seem to have become part of the American landscape. I set out to see if new products could help protect our most vulnerable citizens, our children. Back at Hardwire, I'd asked for my own personal training session on how to use a whiteboard as a shield.
It's designed to be able to close the gap.
Can I give it a try?
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you not to come full speed just because it's extremely hard.
Shut the door, position themselves so that they can confront the attacker when they come in.
Well, if you had one word to describe it, what would it be?
Empowering.
Same word. Every single teacher we give it to says the same thing. Thank you for not breaking my finger.
I later showed this video to Vernon Herron, a senior policy analyst at the University of Maryland Center for Health and Homeland Security.
You did pretty good. You slowed the shooter down. You met him before he gained complete interest. And hopefully at that time, the kids were being evacuated to another room. So anything that we can use in order to buy time for our children is a good thing. But hopefully every teacher that is given a whiteboard has some level of training. You know, just can't do it one time and say, okay, I got it. It's too late to read the instructions once the shooting starts.
But what about the role of bulletproof backpacks in schools? I wanted to hear if other mothers thought the inserts were a good idea.
I think it gives a false sense of security, to be honest. I mean, even as I hold this, I think that this is heavy. And if you can flee from an assailant, I think that this would weigh somebody down.
But Jennifer Cropper disagrees. She recently bought the inserts for her son and daughter.
And putting them in the backpacks, I simply just said, okay, you have a bulletproof shield in your backpack. My son said, if anything ever happens, and the teacher is not around, I'm gonna have my backpack and tell the rest of the kids to get behind me. Wanting to be the hero, of course.
I think that students might feel like, but I have a bulletproof book bag, when in actuality, they might be better off ditching their book bag and running.
You are in different situations sometimes where you're not able to run and you're not able to go anyplace. I want him to know that there's something that he can do. Instead of being a sitting duck.
I think that employees should be hired to guard every school entrance. More solutions along those lines that would be preventative.
The debate over how to best secure schools is complicated. Like many innovations, the development of hardwire's technology has outpaced public policies on how and when it should be used. But when it comes to bulletproofing our schools, there are some trends to consider. Semi-automatic handguns were used in 10 out of 12 mass shootings at schools in the past 3 decades. With this in mind, I decided to test how the bulletproof inserts would hold up against semi-automatic guns. Today I'm going to practice shooting. I'm going to use this .357 SIG semi-automatic, and my target is going to be this purple backpack, fully loaded with everything you need for school, notebook, composition, some kind of stylish pencil case, and last but not least, your bulletproof insert. Oh yeah, it went through all this, school stuff like Swiss cheese, but let's see how our bulletproof insert did. It did what it was supposed to do. The bullets did not penetrate the back of the backpack. It did well. All right, I'm gonna shoot with a semi-automatic .45. Semi-automatics enable you to get a lot of shots off and also are really easy to load. So they're really dangerous, and this is a bad boy. So I just finished shooting at the backpack with a semi-automatic .45, which is a bigger slug than the .357. Let's see how the insert did. You can see the 2 bullets entered here, and there's the slug. That's a big one. This thing stopped it dead in its tracks. Before semi-automatic .45 and after semi-automatic .45. Not too shabby. I'm gonna shoot at the insert. And I want to make clear that the insert is not made to withstand the power of this rifle. As you can see, the gunfire from the rifle just tore through the insert. So as amazing as this technology is, it just goes to show that no armor can stop everything. Assault rifles like this were used at 3 mass school shootings: Stockton, Columbine, and, most recently, Newtown.
So I think that piece could be argued for ages. But Lindsay, you have a new bit of information for us.
The National Report Card on Protecting Children in Disaster recently issued a statement saying that in 28 states, public schools have failed to meet the minimum government standards for protecting children in the event of a disaster and for basic school safety. You know, that's kind of a compelling statistic and frightening in a way. In some ways, it's just an added layer of security, but it does beg the question, is it more like a security blanket?
It sounds like, especially with that new information from your report card, that a lot of groundwork has to be done first. This technology might indeed help children at schools, but first we need to make sure that they have the minimal required security at schools in the first place.
Right.
Before we put a bandage on with some kind of new technology.
You know, after every tragedy, there's always these initiatives and efforts to try to make our schools safer, whether it be panic buttons in classrooms or sophisticated screening mechanisms at the front door. I guess it's a question of how secure can we possibly make our schools?
And then the issue is that added security can actually have a negative effect on students' psychological well-being. Metal detectors alone actually reduce students' desire to be in school. So you have a higher dropout rate, you have a higher class skipping rate, and actually they see an increase in violence. So then it makes you wonder how much security is too much security and to the point where you're stifling the students.
Fascinating piece. I know we could talk about that one for ages, but we're gonna move on to something a little bit smellier. Kyle, what did you have to deal with?
As we're about to see, we're looking at a very innovative way that one of the largest dairy farms in America is dealing with 5 million gallons of manure every day. Milk isn't the only thing that cows produce a ton of. I went to one of the largest dairy farms in America, and how they're taking advantage of their manure to fuel all of their trucks, all their milk trucks, on clean, renewable energy. We're about to get the scoop on poop.
At first glance, this might look like your typical dairy farm here in the heartland of America.
We probably have about 32,000 acres that we own. We milk on 11 sites. We have 11 parlors, and we're milking right now probably a little over 36,000 cows.
But what makes this Indiana farm unique isn't what you see, it's what you smell.
These cows are full of it, and it's not just milk. So you don't just have all these cows here for producing milk.
It's actually really a great story. We take two products, milk and manure. They're both separated from the cow, the manure here in the barns, the milk in the milking parlor, and they come together as renewable natural gas on a tanker truck that then is able to deliver that milk all over the upper Midwest.
What you see behind me is Fair Oaks Farm's $19 million investment in sustainability. Each year, they produce over 2 million gallons of clean natural gas fuel. To put this into perspective, that's enough to fully fuel 35 747s. It's even enough to fuel a whole fleet of Fair Oaks Farm's milk trucks, which they do every day right here down on the farm.
This new future of green energy lies in this innovation, a highly efficient anaerobic digester which converts the manure into compressed natural gas.
Well, we produce about 500,000 gallons of liquid manure from the 4 dairies that go into the central digester.
How do you deal with all the manure they're producing constantly every day?
We use a vacuum tanker, so every time that the cows go in to be milked, 3 times a day, we vacuum all the manure out of the aisles, collect it, and take it to the digester. And that's where the AMP America's technology for cleaning the gas comes in.
Manure is poured into the digester and heated. Microbes break it down, creating a biogas which is captured and piped as renewable natural gas. The leftover liquid is used as fertilizer.
We're taking something that potentially could be a contaminant to the environment, totally taking that out of the picture.
Right.
We kid around here that we're taking something like cow manure and making rocket science out of it. We feel pretty good about that.
So what do we got here?
We got the future. The future's laying right in front of you. This is a little heifer calf that was born within the last 45 minutes, and this is what it's all about.
How many of these little guys are born each day?
You know, roughly, probably right now with our new barn open, 140 to 150.
Wow. So this isn't just really the cycle of life. This is start of the whole cycle that you have going on here. You're growing the crops from the manure, and the crops go to feed the cows, which make the milk, which make the methane, and it all goes back into producing the crops to feed little guys like this one.
It's a perfect circle almost with virtually no waste.
So right here is the start of the whole process.
This is the start of the process. The feed, the farm, that's the start of the process.
Mark gave me an up-close look at the amazing technology which makes it all possible.
So basically now we're standing on top of the 6.2 million gallon digester.
So this whole thing is basically like a giant cow gut.
The same bacteria, the same enzymes that are in her gut breaking down organic material and producing gas do so in the tank, except this time we capture it instead of her belching it.
And then what comes out, you reuse. It's also a part of your sustainability, right?
Yes, actually, all of the nutrients stay in the liquid. So that gets returned to the land just like we've always used it for fertilizer in the dairy industry.
I see a lot of farms having the ability to replicate this model and turn their byproducts into real energy and help save the planet.
Does it feel any different than a diesel engine?
No, it still has the same amount of power and everything like that. It's obviously cleaner, and I have noticed no difference as far as power-wise, as far as pulling loads or anything like that.
Could you show me?
Sure.
In the face of climate change, nearly every major industry is going to have to adapt and evolve. It's inspiring, then, to see sustainability on such a large scale, right here in the heartland of America.
Sustainability has always been a part of our farming operations. We just keep taking it to different levels because to survive in the 21st century, you're going to need sustainability, creativity, technology, innovation to get us there.
You guys want some ice cream?
Yeah!
And that grass-to-glass thinking has made this farm and its ice cream famous.
What flavors do you want?
Strawberry.
Have you guys seen any cows here on the farm today yet?
Yeah.
What were they doing?
Pooping.
I've been seeing cows poop on this farm all day today. This is better than any ice cream you've ever had. Is this kind of one of your proudest achievements in farming? You've been farming for years and years. Is this something that you really take pride in?
Oh, yeah, how can you not? I mean, the opportunity, one, just to interact with people like we are, to create this edutainment center, if you will, the things we're doing with the environment, the things we're doing with our animals. I mean, this is just a nirvana for anybody that's involved in farming and agriculture. It's terrific.
It seems like a pretty enticing model. Are other places starting to adapt this?
Global climate change is affected so much by greenhouse gas emissions, and almost 20% of that is from farms and cattle. To see what they're doing with their milk trucks is really forward-thinking, and not only is it innovative, but it's also scalable. You can have small-scale digesters that basically do the same thing, where you can recoup energy costs by selling back to the energy grid. You can power your own trucks. You could do a variety of things with it, as you saw in Indiana.
It was really interesting to see how old technology is being applied in all these different ways to these modern problems.
Dive deep into these stories and go behind the scenes at aljazeera.com/techknow. Follow our expert contributors on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and more.